Video number 44, finding vertical and horizontal asymptotes. Let's take a look at the function f equals a over x. Well, think about this. As x approaches 0, gets closer to 0, doesn't f approach larger and larger values like infinity? Okay, take a look at g. That would happen at, the same thing would happen as x gets closer and closer to 3, making the denominator what? Closer and closer to 0. Therefore, g would also become infinity. All right. H. Over here you could factor x squared minus 100 to x minus 10x plus 10. Therefore, as x gets closer and closer to 10 or closer and closer to negative 10, we would also get an infinity situation. These are called vertical asymptotes. F has a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. G has a vertical asymptote at x equals 3. And H has two vertical asymptotes at x equals 10 or negative 10. Now let's talk about this. As as x gets larger and larger, x down here, doesn't f get closer and closer to 0 because the denominator is getting larger and larger and larger? Yes, it does. G, same thing. As x gets larger and larger, what happens is the denominator, the minus 3, becomes insignificant, and you end up getting a ratio of 5 to 1. You'll get 5 infinities over 1 infinity minus 3, which is basically 5. Just think about the number 100. That would be 500 over 97, which is about 5. And that's how this works out. Okay, H. As x gets larger and larger, G would approach 3/4. Because what would happen is the 7 and the 3 would become insignificant, the 4x would become insignificant, and you would just have a fraction. You would have 6 over 8, which is 3/4. These are called horizontal asymptotes. So what we're going to do is break this up into two parts. This is the first part of our video, and we will come back and answer more questions here on finding vertical and horizontal asymptotes.